scene, and coming from Pretoria, there are a lot of characters, They're funny, they're weird, they're very unique and very bold, kind of. It's like a circus, It's like growing up in a circus. So you can't help but draw from
what you know and from what you hear as well. And you shooting a scene where it's a sex scene like that. Do you guys as directors and producers sit those actors down and say, do you have a history maybe of rape or of any sexual abuse situation, and how comfortable are you going forward with this scene? Do you guys have those conversations with your actors and with your actresses?
So which is different from kind of working with a Netflix, whatever, because they want to approve who's cast, whatever, for their own reasons, because they're a business. I don't have to do that when I'm doing my independent short film or my So what I'll do is audition you, I'll do a callback, we'll have a chat, I'll do like a vibe test, I'll match you up with your potential mother in the thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing.
That's what you do, yeah.
But ultimately, what I chose was skill. I didn't choose followers or popularity because, So, but I feel like work here suffers because it might be good, but it doesn't have.
Unscripted Moments with Bukamina Ebekhulu. It's a podcast, yo. Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Unscripted Moments with myself, Bukamina Ebekhulu. I am not alone. I'm not alone. Like I said last week, like I say in every single episode, I will be back with a very special guest. And the person I have today, her name is Karabo Lediga. She is a writer, director, producer for television and film. She has worked on these following shows: Late Night News with Loisa Gola, our next week, Lockdown, MTV Sugar 5, Classified, what did you dream, which is a short film, Queen Sono on Netflix, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. She was a researcher, writer, African correspondent for the show. And as I'm sitting with her today, she has a movie out, and the name of the movie is Sabbatical, and you can get it on all cinemas in South Africa, basically. I'm not by myself. I'm with the wonderful lady right next to me. Welcome to Unscripted Moments. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm all right.
I'm all good. Ngiyabonga ukuthi nje you come through to come and sit with us and just have a chat and a conversation.
It's my pleasure.
So we have a tradition in our show. We always ask someone, who are they? Where do they come from? Do they have siblings? Do you have siblings? Do you have family, mom, dad? Who are you? Who's Karabo?
My name is Karabo Lediga, as you said. I grew up in Pretoria. I was born in Soshanguve. Lived there for a little bit of my life, kind of moved around a lot. I do have a mom and dad. I have a brother who I work with a lot, who's also in the film industry.
Oh.
So
it's a family affair.
Sometimes I do a lot of the stuff you mentioned was not with him. I studied film and media and television studies, whatever that means, at UCT. I think that kind of launched me into a career as a researcher for a lot of educational stuff. I think it makes one a good writer, I think. And then quite late into my career, I got into script writing and then eventually directing,
So script writing wasn't your first love?
It was my first love. I just didn't have the confidence to do it. Oh. So I did a lot of research to hide from writing. But definitely, my first love, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. So you started with researching and then worked your way up.
Absolutely,
that's lovely. So if you're saying you're not the only one in your family that is in this industry, that means it wasn't difficult for you when you were like, Mom, Dad, this is what I want to do.
No, my mom, my dad, I don't see him much, but my mom is very supportive. I studied engineering, mechanical engineering for a year because she was a single mom and I wanted to kind of help her out. And I was good at science and maths. And she's the one who was like, no, but you've always kind of written. But like my brother and I are not that far apart. So he was in varsity, so it's not like he proved that it works, So it was just the support.
Oh, he's older than you?
Yeah, he's a little bit older than me.
Thank you. Oh, that's nice. So how did your writing journey begin?
I worked in sketch comedy, like you said, late night news with Loyiso Gola as a researcher and content producer. Working with comedians is very loose because they don't have the hierarchy.
Yes.
People play a lot of roles
Yeah.
in the same kind of production, you know. So I learned how to write on there, and I learned how to direct on there, and I learned how to perform as well on late night news with Loyiso Gola. So that's when I was kind of playing around with comedy and short form scripts. Yeah.
Because when I was researching as well, I realized that you do a lot of comedy orientated things, and I was like, that's interesting. That's because usually in South Africa, everyone goes for the drama, for the thriller, for the very serious stuff. I was like, that's really, really interesting.
I guess it's and I like to. People expect me to be funny, but I think it's more of a tone, not like a genre. So like things like Lockdown are very serious.
Of course.
But there's like
of course.
some humor in it because it's South African.
Yeah.
Something like Queen's Song is also very serious. There's some humor in it, you know. So I think most of my freelance writing is quite dramatic as well. Yeah, but
true. Because I also didn't mention all of them, by the way, guys. I just mentioned some.
no, it's fine.
The
You
list
can't
goes
mention
on.
all
It
of
could
them.
be it could be an actual book if I were. So, what kind of stories did you grow up listening to that influenced you into thinking, man, I could write this, I could do this?
I think we all grew up on a lot of American television.
Of course.
So there's always like this pretense that if as a filmmaker you have these interesting references like Italy or whatnot. I'm like, no, we just watched American rom-com and comedy. So my biggest influence is American kind of Hollywood mainstream television and film. But I think what's interesting is always trying to make it personal or make it particular to South Africa or whatever. But I do think our voice is very American influenced, but I think we need to take it and make it, you know,
Your own.
So that's a lot of stuff. But I also listen to my grandmother's stories about her growing up in Marabastad or wherever it was.
And those are always the best stories.
Yeah,
yes.
no, she was a very good storyteller.
I always say if we were to sit down with our grandparents and actually create stories, some of them people wouldn't even believe you, Guti. That's an actual thing that happened.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like her? And
No, those are the best stories.
oh, those
for
are the
sure.
best stories. Would you say your personal life and identity shape the kind of characters that you write?
Absolutely. I think I draw a lot from the people that I know and observed growing up. I think the matriarchs in my life, like What Did You Dream is about my grandmother, really. Sabbatical is really about my mom. But a lot of it is people I've seen, and coming from Pretoria, there are a lot of characters, you know. They're funny, they're weird, they're very unique and very bold, kind of. It's like a circus, you know. It's like growing up in a circus. So you can't help but draw from
what you know,
Yeah,
and from what you
absolutely.
hear as well. And do you have any writing routine or process that you work with? Are you the type of person that needs peace and quiet, or can you work in a group? Do you need someone with you, or what's your process like?
It depends on the writing assignment because I came up in a room full of comedians for sketch comedy. A lot of it is very collaborative and very kind of electric because there's a lot of kind of bumping of heads and arguments and roasting each other, you know.
And seeing if the joke works.
Yes, and then being kind of, you know, roasted for having a bad joke. It's like it's really tough industry. Yeah, and it's
I was about to say I wouldn't survive.
Yeah, so I think I learned to be tough in there, but I also kind of learned to appreciate the writing room, like collaborative work, which is standard for television. I think people should always have a writing room, especially if you're doing multiple characters and very many episodes.
For
you
a
know.
lot of other shows as well.
Absolutely, because I think one mind doesn't really work in TV. I just don't think it's interesting. But then for something like a feature film, I definitely I have a routine and I work like a person who goes to work. So in the morning, I'll go for a walk, I'll eat, wash, and then I'll write. So I have a full
whole day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allocated to just that.
So it doesn't just come. Yeah, I have to be very disciplined. Yeah. But like I do a lot of research as well because of my background in research. So everything is kind of researched anyway. Yeah.
That's interesting with the film parts, because sometimes you would think, Uguti, a person is writing, you just wake up and you're like, okay, oh wait, no, I have an idea. Let me start writing now. And then you wait. How do you operate? As you said, you wake up, you have a routine, you make a routine for yourself. When you have those days where it's like you are tired, you are mentally burnt out, you don't want to do anything. How do you get yourself to that place where, hey, I need to write whether or not?
So sometimes the writing doesn't come, but I have to do something related to the project. So it might be more research or watch reference material. Either or. I'll either watch something that's like a part of maybe a film that I referenced or something to unlock me, or I read papers on whatever theme I'm working
happening.
on. Yeah. So, but I'll always do something, even if it's not writing. Yeah.
Hi, Ngaguz. So what's the key to writing compelling layered characters, especially for your South African audience?
I mean, I don't know if I'm the authority on it. But
basically for you.
Yeah.
So from your point of view,
Yeah.
what's your
I
key
think
to it?
I'm a little bit jaded when it comes, because I've been in the industry for so long,
Exactly.
you know? And I see all sorts of things that I don't think are good work here. So I'm
everyone
like,
has their own thing.
yeah, so I'm like, what's compelling, you know? Because I'm like, this is so stereotypical. It's absolute rubbish. It paints black people in a very negative way, but it works. So
And it works.
Yeah, so who am I to say compelling? But for me, the work I like to do is very kind of complex characters. I don't like good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm usually kind of grayish.
Yeah.
I usually like to keep audiences guessing. I don't want people to have like favorites, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I'm always like looking for realism in a way, because I'm like, okay, cool. You know, you like her, but you hate her for this, but you have empathy for her, you know. But the main thing is always empathy. You must feel something for them, you know.
So you would say empathy for your characters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I think empathy for blackness and empathy for black situations, you know, because it's complex. It's not
just one way. Because we're all holding guns. We're all witchcrafting. We're all this.
Even if you're holding a gun, could it be
for what?
interesting? Why?
Exactly.
Why are you holding a gun? How did you grow up?
What's influencing?
Yes.
The
Do you
situation?
cry sometimes with the gun? You know. So yeah,
I hear you. Do you navigate the tension between your personal? How do you navigate the tension between your personal life and the commercial expectations?
I think I was saying earlier before we started that I'm quite happy to be a behind the scenes person and to be somebody who can hide. So there's always like a spotlight on a person when there's an output, when there's something new, and kind of the media is kind of, you know, giving attention, interviews and stuff. But nobody will ever be like, where is she? I wonder. No, they'll be like, they just assume I'm at home writing. They're not thinking, because you know. But maybe to answer the question differently, navigating the tension between my personal life and commercial expectations. There are very many ways to answer this. Now I'm thinking about making a living as well, and kind of honoring projects that are true to self, as opposed to ones that kind of bring income.
And that's the hardest part.
It's the hardest part. I'm always trying to. So I work for a living as a writer. That's how I make my living. I don't as a writer and a director. But that's what I do.
Because usually those two go well together.
Yeah, they do. They don't always come, especially for women. It's mostly just writing.
And I'm still going there. For women, how is it?
It's mostly writing. So I take on lots of projects.
Yes.
So I'll work on different genre. I'll work on spy thriller. I work on comedy. I work on, you know, reality. I'll do anything as long as it kind of resonates with me. It doesn't have to be a big resonance. It doesn't have to be like some big political thing or some deep thing. I work on all sorts of silly stuff, you know, as long as it doesn't have weird things like showing people doing, or black people doing weird things. I can't do it. So I can't write weird things, man.
I'm happy you touched on the weird things. The industry took a turn of the sexual nature.
You see,
exactly. And my thing is, do you think we're still there, or are we moving back to where we were before we took the turn? Where do you find us in regard of that?
So I think we always talk about the industry as one monolithic thing. And I think it's a problem. I think there's a reason why, because the streamers came and those became kind of the I guess that's the main thing, that the main output of or the most popular output for the industry. But the industry is so many things. Nobody talks about SABC, nobody talks about ETV, or you know what I mean? There's so many things other than the streamer. But the streamers have big money and they pour a lot of marketing into their shows. They tend to have a similar kind of like similarity in tone, which is fine because it makes sense because it belongs to one brand, you know? But I think we are diverse in many ways, and I think we need more diversity. I do think that there was a lot of sexual content. I think you'll find that it's with allowing, because I just watched this great TV show called Go. I don't know if you watched this.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm still on Unseen.
You see, but that's also a different tone.
Exactly. So, and I was happy there was no sex scene.
Yeah, because Unseen is different.
Happy.
Yeah, but so all I mean is we need diversity. So when you're looking for the sex, you can go find it, but it's not in everything. Because I'm a democratic creator, you know. So I don't think we should censor, but at some point we're thinking it'll trend. But I think we need diversity. If you want the sex, you can.
You can go there, but if you don't want it, you go to the side. That's
please,
true.
Can we have that? Yeah,
that's so true. Because I don't want to be sitting. I was interviewing someone here as well. And I was like, I don't want to be sitting with my dad or with a family member, with a child. And hey, bo, there's ass, there's boobies, there's everything on screen. For the why?
I think also we ask ourselves, that's why I'm saying I don't want to write funny things. Because sex is story, right? When characters have sex, there's a reason why. It can't just be that they're doing it.
Exactly.
So when I'm writing, I have to have backstory.
It really needs to make sense.
No, it has to make sense. But I
just walked in and I'm like, oh, we need sex.
Exactly. And then there's another one in the same episode, and then another one.
Exactly.
So the audience is now desensitized. It's just sex now, you know. So I have a problem. And then so it gets worse because as a director, you have to be on set, working with women, with actors. It's not easy, and I have to like convince you that this is why these characters are doing, you know what I mean? It's also abusive to actors as well, both men and women.
Exactly. And as a director, now I'm taking you out of the script writing to the director part, and you shooting a scene where it's a sex scene like that. Do you guys as directors and producers sit those actors down and say, do you have a history maybe of rape? Or of any sexual abuse situation, and how comfortable are you going forward with this scene? Do you guys have those conversations with your actors and with your actresses?
So I won't shoot a sex scene without an intimacy coordinator. I refuse to do it.
Yes.
So what they will do is sit and workshop the scene with the actors. Sometimes if the two actors are in a scene, it'll be together, but it'll be singular as well.
Oh, okay.
And then the intimacy coordinator, which is normally a woman in my experience, but there are men. And
I've also seen women.
There's men. There's a man. Yeah, there's a famous man. I haven't met him. I haven't met him.
Apparently he's very
existed. He's there. They talk about him.
I'd prefer a woman. I won't lie.
Yeah, I think there's a softness. So they usually go through the history and stuff, and then it's also contractual. Actors can say, no, I don't want to do this.
Yes,
and it's.
But are they? To be honest, can they though? In South African industry?
I don't work on those things. I just don't because of my nature. I don't. You know.
Yes,
I won't do it. Yeah.
I hear you.
If that doesn't exist, then there's no sex scene. I'm sure they can touch like this or we can fade away.
Fade away.
Yeah, we don't have to.
We don't have to.
No. Why?
Like,
no.
Just show us going down.
Yeah, go down. Yeah.
And then we wake up and then you show us maybe coming out.
Yeah. Or under the covers. So
exactly.
It's like, so if you can't afford the sex scene, you don't get it. I'm sorry. I worked on a really huge Netflix production as a director with a very big actor who has her own principles. She said no. She said no to the sex scene.
Yes.
And we had to make do, and we did. They went down. That was it.
And those are
And I was happy. I was like,
it shows what you had said.
Yeah,
anyone with an imagination can tell.
So I refuse to do. I won't be part of coercing people into funny things.
Doing such things. No. So when we talk about scenes, which scene are you proud of? Which scene do you, when you look back at it and you're like, "As a scene out of anything I've ever written in my life."
Oh, as a writer. We wrote quite a complicated, or I wrote, I like we because television is so collaborative.
You work with,
yes,
yeah.
it's so hard to be like, take credit. I worked in Queenstown, and I didn't think I had it in me, but it was like a very big, long action sequence. There was like a shootout, and I had to. So it was in episode 4, and I think it's like a flashback. We have to go back to how Queen came to be part of this
the whole
unit.
thing.
Yes, and then how
you know
the
what's
guy.
crazy about this conversation? Sorry to cut you. I'm writing something, like I told you earlier, and someone told me to go and watch Queen Sona as a reference. So when you're talking about it, I was watching it last week. And I'm like,
oh, you like which one? Yes. So that, I think it's when she sees the bubble. So there's this like,
so I know definitely, yeah.
And I didn't think I could write action, because I lead with emotion, and this thing required like thriller, action, a shootout, you know?
Yes.
And in all the beats, I had to have some emotional turn. So I brought my strength, but I really didn't think I could do action. And then... Yes, I'm really proud.
Because you have to put all of that within the script as well.
And then the director was Teboho Malope as well, because I find him really incredibly talented.
Yes.
So, and he comes from the commercials, world. So he got somebody to storyboard the thing. So he had to call.
It was beautiful. You could tell.
No, he's like, so on the side, we shot under the bridge there in Newtown.
Yeah.
Yes, under the yeah. And then there he had a board just there with the shots, whatever. And then he'd call me, say, "Can I do this? Okay, this is not possible. Can you rewrite the character to do this and that?" So I'm really proud of that.
And it's something to be proud of, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I was looking at the action part of it, I'm like, hi, man, it looks like people can fight for real. What's happening here?
Because
it was shot beautifully. Yeah, it was. Because most of the time when you're watching South African shows and it's a fighting sequence, you can literally tell whether they connect or they
And
went.
it's always, because I'm always so sad when people say, oh, South Africans don't know how to direct, or our writing quality is low, whatever. It's not up to par. But I know for a fact that if Queen Sono was the first African, whatever, Netflix original, so they put a lot of money into it. Relative to,
you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah. And what people who are skilled do with money is buy time and then get a stunt coordinator, and then they rehearse, and then they train people to see. You know what I mean? So it's not like people can't. They just don't have the means. And even if you say the script is bad, I'm like, writers are good. They don't have time to write, or they're not paid well. But I'm always on team South Africa, you know.
Oh, same here. I don't like it when I hear someone, especially in the industry, when they say, I don't watch South African. I'm like, you in the actual industry, and you're saying to me, I don't watch South African television, and yet you still want to find work.
Yeah.
But you're not supporting it.
Also, you still want to have conversations with potential people. Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I can say, Mina, is I haven't watched it yet. I haven't, but you best believe I'm still going to watch it.
Yes. So I think we have maybe it'll change. I think we have a low self-esteem, you know.
You think?
I think so. I think if I were to say you shot with Barry Jenkins in New York, and then we saw you there. When you come here, then they'll be like, well, now you're good. But while it's the same
while
skill,
you're still here,
you're the same person.
That is true.
So it's always, if it doesn't come this way, if it doesn't go there and then come back, then it's not.
That is true.
So, yeah.
Because I always look at Mbedu.
Tuso
Mbedu.
Yeah.
Tuso Mbedu, the industry in South Africa was not very friendly to her.
And she was and is.
Exactly. Because it's not like she only started when she was overseas.
Absolutely.
She was that girl.
She's really good. We remember her. I was talking about her the other day. We remember all her shows. But also the way she looks.
Exactly.
Nobody would say she's a lead.
Exactly.
But then somebody else in America were like, okay,
you're
like,
she's lead material.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of actors or a lot of writers or directors, for them to be seen, you need to get out of your country.
Absolutely.
Or for them to see you first.
And for me, it's frustrating because I, like for sabbatical, for instance, because I work in television, and by its pure nature, you have to answer to
Yeah.
corporate, you have to answer to your commissioning editor, you have to answer to a streamer. So when you do kind of independent work, you don't have to. So it's fun times, you know. So what I would do, which is different from kind of working with a Netflix, whatever, because they want to approve who's cast, whatever, for their own reasons, because they're a business. I don't have to do that when I'm doing my independent short film or my. So what I'll do is audition you, I'll do a callback, we'll have a chat, I'll do like a vibe test, I'll match you up with your potential mother in the thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing.
That's what you do, yeah.
But ultimately, what I chose was skill. I didn't choose followers or popularity because, you know. So, but I feel like work here suffers because it might be good, but it doesn't have, you know, the what and the what. Yeah. So it's like I don't know. It's frustrating, but we have to start somewhere.
We have to start somewhere. And my thing is, especially with the Netflix part, I want to ask this. What's him? I personally, as an actress in South Africa for all these years, I think have I even ever gotten called for an audition for a Netflix thing? I don't think I have. Ever. I might be lying. I might have had one.
Yes, because then
if I've
remember.
had one,
yeah,
it
you'd
will
remember.
be one.
Yeah.
And since you do work with Netflix as well, how do they pick their people if you do know? How do they go, no, actually we want this one? Or do they also use the tactic of, this is a SABC person, this is a Mzansi person, this is an ETV person?
And I need to find out if this is kind of a global thing, but it has seemed that they want to retain the talent on the different streamers, you know? So if, let's say, it's like a multi-choice DST, as you know, you'll see that there's a certain, you know, crop of actors and writers, whatever. And then there's hardly ever crossover going into the stream or whatever. I do, and I don't know if they probably want to keep them employed or whatever it is, but I've seen a lot of kind of
the same faces.
And I don't know if that's like a business model or if it's just, I don't know, but that's what I've seen.
That's what we've seen,
and they're pretty much clear on who they want. Even if you... So, but as a director, I have to say they'll give you maybe half the cast. So they'll give you some leeway, but what they know what they want,
And do you think that's a fair thing for them to do, though, and not just them only, like for channels to do in South Africa, where there isn't work much, and actors only get to work on this specific production, which will be a 13 episode, what season? What am I saying? 13 episode season. And they only get to shoot it for 3 weeks, and they're done. And maybe for that whole year, that's the only work they've ever done. And for someone not to be given an opportunity then to go and audition somewhere else.
I think, and it's always something that I keep saying in conversations, you know. I think when the broadcaster worked well, the public broadcaster worked well, when SABC worked well, because they're mandated to develop the industry, they're mandated to have diversity in language and everything. They have quotas. They're mandated to educate and develop. You know what I mean? That's why a healthy public broadcaster works, because if you are on a SABC show and then it brings 6 million viewers and then you're the lead, you know who's gonna want you? Everybody else. Because you've proven that in South Africa you work. Right? Because what they do is keep casting the same people because they saw that it works. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh, this person brings 2 million viewers, I'm going to cast her again in this comedy. Even though she worked in the thriller. Because that's how, because it works with like the stats, the algorithm. That's all they do. It's almost like asking McDonald's, why don't you just bring biryani, McDonald's? What about just open up? They're like, no, the Big Mac it works. So that's what they do, you know. But I think the gap here is the broadcaster not being in its best, you know, at its best, because I think it was a good taste maker for any business wanting to, you know, to make bank, you know.
Sorry. And my last on this specific topic, and do you think, is it the same for females and males
in terms
of this whole restriction thing? Is it the same? Because sometimes you'll find a guy on.
Oh, you're right. The guys are quite.
Yeah, the guys. I find the industry is very lenient on
Yes.
on guys. They can be on any.
Yeah, you're right. I don't ever see.
I've
this,
never
the women we
seen the
know.
limitation on
Yes.
guys, but
And
when
in
it
fact,
comes to the ladies,
it's almost like they blend into. I don't know. The guys are, because we know the hunk. The hunk is gonna
Yes.
go be a
Lapha.
hunk here. The hunk here. That
exactly.
hunk
You
here.
find the hunk in Showmax.
Yes,
you find
the hunk is
in
everywhere.
Netflix.
Yeah, no, the hunk
And
is
it's
everywhere.
like
You're
with the ladies,
right.
you need to.
You're
It's as if you need
absolutely
to peek.
right.
Are you here or not?
Absolutely. And speaking to actors, they're very anxious about it as well. Because what happens is that they sometimes feel locked into a streamer.
Yeah.
And because we don't know how long, it's not a South African business. How long are they here for?
Exactly.
If they leave or if they cut down,
Mm-hmm.
then you are not going to work, or you know what I mean? So
Yes.
they're also a bit anxious. Obviously, they're benefiting, but they're also like, yeah.
And then Masen Hambile, what happens?
Yeah, what happens to me?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a big thing, yeah.
And let's go back to script writing. What is some of the biggest challenges script writers face in the South African industry today?
I think the pay is not good for writers. Writing takes a long time, and you get paid per script, for instance. So you won't get paid obviously on a retainer. So the streamer will give you quite a decent amount of money that you can, and normally you write for longer because they have higher budgets. So
Yes.
you can almost like get a monthly kind of salary for at least whatever,
You
4
sorted.
months or 6 months, whatever. But for most productions, the money is little, but the time is not necessarily
It's not long enough.
so it's not necessarily short. So if you give me money, I'm like, okay, cool, I can do for a month.
Yeah.
But now you're giving me notes in month
To
2, and then
change.
in month 3 you're telling me, but because you already paid me, but the script fee, you see.
Yeah.
So then I have to maybe do 6 scripts at a time for different shows, or 4
Yeah.
for different, or 3.
yeah.
So now my brain is split into
Burnt out.
or repeating storyline. I don't know. There's no, you're now putting copy and paste.
Actually,
Yes.
we've seen those.
Yes, you're like,
This
wait,
kind
didn't
of
I
looks
see?
like this one.
Yes, but people are burnt out, And some is like long form telenovela, so you have to be churning for not a lot of money, So it's not paid enough, and it takes long. And as you know, it takes a lot out of you.
Yes.
Because you can't sit and be
Drains
like,
you, yeah.
just writing is hard, I mean, I know there are miners in the world, there are doctors, they're far more, serious, I don't know, professions, but it's just a
Yeah.
difficult thing to output, yeah.
I always say, some people, like you said, there's far serious professions. I always argue with that. I'm like, our profession is quite serious. It's
Yeah.
actually one of the most serious professions you can find.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the reason I said that, look at when we had COVID.
Absolutely.
We were
yeah.
considered one of the what was the
Essential
essential
services,
workers.
yes, yeah.
We were going to work
Yeah.
even when, and the reason for that, people needed to watch something to
Absolutely.
relax so that they don't kill themselves
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
of the stress they're facing.
Absolutely right.
So
yeah.
I know people might look down on
But they do,
entertainers.
though.
They do.
But they also feel like we complain about nothing.
Hey,
'Cause when you're
it's
talking
like,
about
they don't
Mang
pay
Bani
us
Bani,
with
they don't
this,
pay
with
us.
this.
So they're like,
ahead.
Go
And
get
it's
a
like,
Sasa
but
grant.
guys,
You're like,
it's serious.
yeah,
Since
it's serious.
you want to go to Mr. Price. Actually, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. You want to go to Mr. Price home and you want to buy yourself a painting. Who do you think painted that? That's someone within the art industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
You want to watch a film that will teach you, actually a documentary that will teach you about, give me something, shoes, how shoes were created. That is someone within this
Absolutely,
industry.
yeah.
You are stressed at work and you're like, the only thing that makes me relax, that makes me not want to end it all today, my life is horrible, I'm going through it, is music. Who is providing that music to you?
But I think people really think they can do it.
No,
They're like,
exactly.
Pori. What's Pori? I can do it. No, that they think it's easy. Yeah.
But the thing is that then without this specific industry contributing to life, we wouldn't have been called essential people. And I wish the
Absolutely.
government could actually take us serious.
I don't think
I wish they
anybody
could take
takes
us
seriously,
so that we can also have laws down.
Yeah.
And
I was
things
listening
like that.
to The Screen Actors Guild, because they were on
Yes.
David Mashabela's podcast. Did you watch that
I
one?
watched it yesterday.
I
was
watched it yesterday. Yes. Such interesting conversation.
It was so interesting. I would love them to come through.
I know they're
love to have a
great.
conversation
Even
with
Hungani, I
them.
was like, follow. I was like, hey. I'm like, this young man is...
I would love to have a conversation with them because I also got to learn quite a lot from them.
It was very interesting. Yeah. Anyway, you should interview them. Yeah.
I would love them to come. I would love to, because I feel like going back to saying we are very important within the community, and for people to look down on the work we do. Because people think, I've had someone say to me, guys, I'll act appel.
Oh, like do it now. Or tell me a joke.
Yeah, if you're a comedian, for sure, tell me a joke. I've had someone say, I'll act appel. How?
But also, I think going back to that Screen Guild, Actors Guild of South Africa conversation, I think we also don't organize enough.
Yes.
I feel like you ask people, take us seriously, but I don't think we particularly are
organized.
I don't think so, Shem.
But how do we get organized?
We must join the guilds.
But I guess then it
really starts there.
It really starts
Join
there.
the guild. You'll be in a WhatsApp group. Whatever happens to you, you'll put it in the WhatsApp group. Somebody will say, "Oh, me too. Oh, what do we do?" Join the guild. I'm part of the Writers Guild.
Yes.
I wanted to be part of the leadership. I couldn't because I started directing, So I pushed back. But I pay them a membership fee. You know what I mean? It's something.
Excuse me, that's
and they give you credit. You know what I mean? You can be part of them without paying now or pay whatever. But I think we need to organize. Yeah.
No, that's true. We have to find some organization within our industry, especially for us to be taken serious by I want to say government.
Yes, you're right.
I'm really going with the government because once we have the laws down,
absolutely. Yeah.
Once we have that part of the industry down, then when we walk into spaces and say when producers go to a channel and say 1, 2, and 3, when directors go to producers, when actors go in and say contract time, I want it like this.
We don't do this. We don't do that.
Exactly.
Yes, remember we can't. So I worked on Classified. We had 2 American actors and then 1 British one, right?
Yes.
When you hire them through their guild, the Screen Actors Guild. These 2 people from America, and then obviously the British one through whatever the British. You cannot work with them without going by the rules of their guild.
Yes.
Their guild says 10 hours, not 12. So lunch also starts when the plate is in front of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yes,
and when
that's true.
There is no.
Ne.
So when you schedule. So can you imagine? Your schedule has to completely make sure that this is. There are 2 leads. Yeah.
Because it's not like it's lunch, guys.
Nah.
But can we come and discuss? You bring your lunch, we'll discuss the next thing.
No. And I've heard cinematographers. One worked on a Disney show in America. They are not even allowed to talk to you during lunch. As soon as there's a thing, there's nobody coming to say, "Hey, for the next."
Can you quickly go change? Or you're eating? It's your time.
Eating. Otherwise, you're breaking a big rule. Yeah.
And that's interesting to hear because as an actor, sometimes you do need that break within the day.
Even me.
You need that mental break to say, okay, I have 5 more scenes left.
Yes.
Now I'm ready for
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Oh, even me as a director, like the worst thing for me is lunch. It's hard enough.
Yes.
Lunch. It's like... I'm like,
can you guys give me a break?
I eat. So normally I would hide.
Yes.
So they'll even maybe for 20 minutes, I'll take my plate and then find a corner.
Exactly.
But soon enough they'll find you.
They'll find you.
Karabo, we were looking for you. Why are you looking for me? But at least I would have had my breather, but I would hide.
And as a director, it's even worse for you because an actor, there might be scenes you're not in. As a director, every single scene is yours.
It's every department.
Every department is yours.
Yes.
And also every emotion is yours.
Everything.
Because I can walk in as an actor and I read it differently and I'm taking it to a very different emotion.
And I have to...
You need to come and correct my emotion.
And as well as say, no, that tree is not...
Where's the tree there?
Why is it there?
There?
And then the continuity person will be like, oh, you're right. I'm like, because I know I'll be in edit alone. Why is her look like that?
Last week,
that's me.
As a director.
Yes, because I have to. When I go to edit, it's just me. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
But I like it.
So what do you think? Do you think you get how do I phrase this? Do you think script writers get recognition in South Africa?
Yeah, I think these days they do, and I think there's something to do with like Patu Makwarela.
Yes.
I mean, I think
I love the human being.
I think he really opened up script writing to the general public and the general audience, you know? People were able to figure out who wrote what or who developed what, which I think is incredible.
Because you first want to go, who's writing it?
Yes,
And then you
who's
say his name, it's going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
hear you.
his
I
personal
hear you.
brand met with the... So I think he did that for us, you know? So I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, even with if you say Di Prente made it, you know? They can figure out who's who, you know?
Who's doing
yeah,
what and what?
absolutely,
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. So when you were young and you wanted to start you start writing, you wanted to enter this industry, it doesn't necessarily have to be about writing only. Who is that one person you say mentored you? Or you even looked up to and you're like, oh, this is how I want to do it?
You know what? When I started working, I wanted to find all these kind of women producers. You know, all these they all ran these, you know, all of them. The big five, a lot of them are run by women producers.
Yeah.
So I started kind of getting jobs in all these companies. Yeah, no. And because hoping that I would answer this question somewhere and be like, yeah, no.
Yes.
And it almost broke me. I almost got to one of the biggest ones. That's when I was like, no.
Yeah.
So I came back to kind of appreciate my brother more. I think he was like a really incredible thinker, producer, writer, actor, and a really kind collaborator, not just to me as a sister, but to everybody he works with. He's got really good community. So he's like a really great example of... And his sets, I hope you come on one.
I hope I'll get invited
yes,
to one.
We chilled. We want kindness. We want fun. Nobody swears at people. No, we don't do
environment to
we
work
don't
around.
do that. We don't do that. It's not perfect, but the ethos is we're here to have fun. It's not brain surgery, you know. So because I don't like stress in that way. The stress is there.
Yeah, of work.
Yes, of work.
It's
not
it's
of
okay
people.
if it's the stress of work, not
Yes.
someone stressing you.
No,
Why?
No. I had an AD. I was like, no, because I'm starting to shoot this thing. I brought these people here. Remember, they came. Now you're like, move. I was like, how's my actor going to act now when you say move? Why? We just started shooting. Why we move?
What's going on? You're making people panic.
Yes, and now that in my film, they're going to be like,
exactly. I've had an AD swear.
No. That is a fireable offense.
Exactly. I'm like, what's happening?
No, that's...
I very... My
you must go home. Swearing at who? No.
Fuck
you.
What
as well.
is happening?
No, he has to go home or she has to go home. That's like a fireable offense. No. Also, how are we supposed to now come back tomorrow and tomorrow?
Exactly.
So you find that you're dealing with who saw it, who said, now you're not acting. You're not
and then it becomes personal as well. Why are you swearing at me? What's happening?
Also, who swears?
I'm
like
a grown
in Africa.
woman.
Yes.
You think you can't just come to me and say, hey, you have 5 minutes, please come
but
through?
Who are you swearing? No.
What's happening?
No. So so I don't believe in, I think it's idealistic, but it's possible to have good working environments. At least good enough. We try, you know.
Would you say when it comes to mentorship though, women are the hardest people to find as mentors compared to men?
Yeah, I think because there are not a lot of them.
True.
It's just like there's like inequality in all industries. There's just not a lot of them.
Yeah.
So when I went to look for them, you know them. They're like 5 or you know what I mean?
There's none.
No.
Shame.
So, and they're also probably the way they are because they're so pressurized to whatever they're fighting battles, whatever. When I come, they're like, fuck you. Yes.
That's true.
And I ran away, yeah. I think no.
That's
So it's hard because, they're not a lot.
There's not a lot.
Yeah.
And to a young person out there who's trying to get themselves into the writing part of the industry, what process should they take? Is it easy? Is it hard? What can they do for themselves?
I've always said, one of my producers said, and I think it's when I was writing my short film, because it's like an independent thing, we're trying to find money here and there, and he was saying the probably the best investment you can do is work on the script for as long as possible, because it's like a lone person job, right?
Yes.
So what you're going to do is mess it up, just write.
Just write.
Read scripts,
Yes.
write, find out how scripts are written, Google everything, go to Studio Binder, figure out how to write scripts. There's always people who tell you, oh, you need to start like this, or like there's barrier to entry. No, there isn't. Like if you're, like we were talking about, if you want to do the podcast, come here and try it. Yeah. If it doesn't work, keep trying.
Yes.
I never want to create barriers to entry for writing. Like it's either you're talented or not.
Or not, yeah.
Sometimes it's like a skills thing because scripts are written in this way. Go find out how they're written. Download PDFs of scripts of your famous, whatever, favorite movies, whatever. So I always say, write, because if you want to be a writer, people are going to ask you for your writing. It doesn't matter if it was in a production or in your bedroom. They're going to say, oh, cool, let me see what you wrote.
What you've written.
And at the time they ask you, you must have something. Because how are you a writer if you don't have anything
if
to
you
show?
don't have anything to show? And does that something to show have to be something that has been seen?
No.
Or it could just be your own.
No, most
thing you've always
times
written?
it's something, that nobody has seen. Right? Because I think a lot of people think you have to have done something.
Yes.
But how do you do something? I mean, how do you get to doing something?
Yes.
You have to have started without having done something.
Exactly.
So how do you show someone that you can do something?
right.
Yes. So, but I work in sketch. So it's a little bit more open because you can come into the room and tell us jokes, whatever. So it's not like a formal kind of long form writing. So you can get writing talent easy by allowing people to come into the brainstorm room. Yeah.
To the brainstorm room. I want to go to your film that is in the cinemas right now. I get excited every time there's a South African film in the cinemas. And your face is like, girl. I get excited because the industry is our industry, guys. So when there's something like that, I'm like, yes, okay, we can go and watch our own. Because I'm like, okay, we're growing. We are growing. We're getting there. But I want to know about Sabbatical. Where did the idea of the film come from? And was there a specific moment or experience in your life that made you actually...
I've always found my mother interesting. She's funny and she's larger than life. You know, she's well loved wherever she goes, you know. But when people are like, oh, your mother's so cool. I'm like, no, she's not.
Because you're her child.
Yes, exactly. So I found that interesting.
Oh, okay.
The tension between mother and daughter, because there's so many unsaid things, honesty, you know, inside the house. I wanted to create a container where a black mother and daughter can have this tension that's kind of so universal and familiar to a lot of people, but mostly black women who have mothers or who mother as well, you know, who have aunts or gogos, whatever. Yeah. So the idea came to me when I was sick. I had a very big operation and I had to go home to be taken care by my mom because I was kind of living alone, having a good time in Joburg. So I had to go to Pretoria.
Joburg life.
Hey, Joburg life versus home life.
Yeah,
which was another thing I was interested in, showing, you know, who you are here and who you are when you're home.
When you're home.
And home could be like 40 minutes away, but it's like a whole other planet. And you're a child under this kind of roof, you know. So it came from there while I was recovering. I made a very quick recovery. It was miraculous. The nurses were very impressed because I just wanted to get away. Yeah, because I was like, I'm out here. They were like,
because you have to be a child at your mother's
I'm
house.
like, yeah.
Doesn't matter how old you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found that. So everything I'm saying, I found all of this interesting, entertaining, but also like interestingly triggering to people who watch it. They're like, oh man, this reminds me of my mom. I need to call my mom. It's me and my mom. Or I miss my mom. All this stuff, you know. So yeah, it was to honor motherhood and daughterhood and womanhood as well. But it's also funny and quirky, and you also don't know what's gonna happen because it's got a lot of drama. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically
that's how you got it. And what is that one challenge you faced when you were writing it?
It's self-esteem always, you know. It took long because you don't believe in it. You also I initially went away where I was trying to please some sort of invisible audience. Normally it's probably from like American festivals or European, you know, the gays. You're like, will they get it? Whatever, because we're all trying to get seen by people outside of here.
People,
not us. Yeah. And then eventually I got back into kind of trusting my own voice and honesty, which I think it worked well because people resonate. They're like, oh, this is really us. Oh, this is so familiar, which I think is a good thing. Yeah.
Sabbatical means pause.
Yeah.
Or
leave or
leave or departure. Yes. How does that how does the name, the title of the film what's the word I'm looking for?
Relate. Oh yes, in the film.
Relate
Operate is a good word. Yeah, because how does it work
with
in
the
the film?
film? Yes.
So this daughter who's like a corporate hand, a banker type, arrives home during a blackout. She wakes up and she's like, "Oh shoot, I didn't think I was coming here." So some spirit calls her back home, whatever. But she's going through a crisis because the mentor, the middle-aged white mentor, has thrown her under the bus for some big kind of fraud case, whatever that's happening. And she's come home because there's nowhere else to go. But she's unable to tell her mother, who's very proud of her, who worked all her life to get her, where she is on the pedestal that she is, what's really happening. That the success that is kind of has become everything that this Lesego is known for in this community is not real, or it's finished. So her mom can see that there's something wrong, but she's too embarrassed to tell or to ask.
What's happening.
Yes, but she's too embarrassed to even tell the society ladies. So as soon as Lesego arrives and she looks kind of messed up, she says, no, she's on sabbatical, which sounds like a fancy word. She's doing her PhD.
Just pausing here.
Yes, it's just a pause. It's not a fall, Yeah, so it's like a lie. The word sabbatical is a lie. And it's such a convoluted English word. I'm like,
exactly.
Do we really even know what sabbatical is?
But it sounds fancy.
Yeah, it sounds fancy, so you'll take it, yeah. You're like sabbatical. Yes, her hour. She's just taking leave. Yeah.
And then you spoke about this film being about your mom. What character would you say reflects your own voice within the story, in case you incorporated yourself in there?
I think it's so definitely this fallen character, but not in, because I wanted to make something that had the texture of our relationship, but create characters that are entertaining, out of this world, that have done really extreme things not like normal life. I think normal life is boring. So I wanted kind of normality, but using larger than life characters that I created. So no, I'm not a banker. I didn't fall from grace. My mom is not this kind of person, But definitely the generation gap and, the living far apart from... Yes. And then the coming together and the... Yeah, that's definitely my perspective. Is definitely this Lesego's character's perspective. Definitely, yeah.
And when it comes to this film, what would you like people to have? What conversations would you like people to have after watching that film?
Definitely, I'd like people to think of their parents and their children more as humans and not as expectations. I feel like there's expectation in going both ways. I expect you to understand me, or expect you to do as I say. I expect you to whatever it is. I think I hope that it starts a little bit more of an honest conversation in Black families, especially between mothers and daughters and sons, because a lot of men watch this film, they're like, yo, that's my dad or that's my mom. So it's the same kind of success anxiety that we all know, that we come from.
I like that part, Oguti, so that family can have proper conversations and talk to each other. You find that some families out there can't even sit down and fix something or talk about something. That is a nice way of looking at it.
I think so, yeah.
You want to ask something, anything on your side?
Okay, yeah. So just want to know, you have a duality role behind the lens, right? Being a writer and a director. So how do you deal when an actor takes your script that you're directing and wants to put in their own twist to it, especially if it's like a personal thing, and they say, look, I don't relate to this, I want to do this my own certain way. So how do you deal with that as a director and a scriptwriter at the same time?
Basically improvisation of what you've written.
I think so what I normally do, because I have a very clear idea of what I want to do with characters when I'm writing, but I know that I can't, as a director, I can't be a dictator. So I know that it's a collaborative process, So I'll usually pitch to my HODs and my actors, and then have them pitch back to me. And then somewhere in the middle, we have to find a middle ground or collaboration. I am very stern about what I want. So if it's like in this film, one of the actors is like, oh no, maybe her father raped her. I'm like, no, that's not the backstory. No.
We are taking it somewhere else.
We're taking it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times it's good suggestions, because I realize that I'm not, like, as one brain, I am not the best I can be, but in collaboration, the thing it elevates only because it'll have an audience. So I always honor the actor's input. So normally we do a table read. Sometimes if it's like if it's a film and the lead has a lot of pages, I'll do it just with her. Or if it's the mother and daughter and most of them are in most of the scenes, I'll do it with the two of them workshop. Then we talk about all the scenes, we talk about the lines, we talk about backstory, whatever. At some point, all of us will be on the page, but I will be the main voice. Yeah.
Of course, the person who says this is where it ends, you can't go because if you we can take it to Mars.
And also, if you don't know what you want,
exactly,
no.
There needs to be a limit somewhere.
Yeah, but I already arrive with knowing what I want, but I do let them in. Yeah.
Yes.
And you'll find that on set because they have ownership of the project, they give you more because they don't go. Okay, you know, tell us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
because it's like, okay, oh, what if I add this person likes wearing shades?
Yes,
or this
I like
talks
that.
like this.
I like that. I like that because it helps you and me.
Hey.
So I like that.
No, that's true. That's very true. So we're about to end our show. In the show, we have questions that I'll ask every single guest that sits on the chair. And it's just a fun little ending part that I'll ask. So the first question is, would you rather always have to sing instead of speaking or dancing everywhere you go?
So I have to choose between
singing, dancing, or would you stay talking?
Oh yeah, I talk all day long. Second choice, singing. I love singing, even badly, but speaking.
Speaking
as you can
all
tell,
the way.
I can go so long.
From there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Damn, that's interesting. I think I'll dance.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not a great dancer, but I think I don't know.
I think I can talk my way out of anything. I definitely can't dance my way out of it.
And then, what's your most embarrassing childhood memory?
I have a few, but I think it's boring if you pee or whatever. But I remember
you have a few. Wait, let's go back.
A few embarrassing moments. Yeah, I'm like a klutz. I stumble over myself.
Like me?
Oh my gosh, no. You're like you look. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I remember going. So my mom used to work day and night shifts. So my parents got divorced, and we lived in this like little apartment in Arcadia.
Yes.
So she'd be like, "When I come back, you better have cleaned." So I would know that she's coming back from night shift. As we're leaving, around when I'm going to school, so I'd clean frantically, clean, and my cleaning wasn't all that good.
Yes.
So I think I was maybe 13. So I went to school, and I realized while I was taking out money or pocket money for whatever for my lunch that I had put a dirty panty in my pocket. So everybody was like, ah! So I was like, oh my God, that's what I was doing. It was very funny.
That is embarrassing.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. Yo, ma.
I had no, and I remember it was like blue cotton yana. So
how did you act? Did you like find something to say?
No,
I'm like life.
I'm a tragically awkward person. I said, I was cleaning. I don't think I try to hide it. Yeah, no.
If you could swap lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be?
It'd probably be some superhero, but they seem to be quite burdened. I don't know. I've never thought of this.
You're the first person I've ever heard who goes, superheroes are burdened.
They're so burdened. They have to solve people's things.
I know, but no one ever thinks of that.
No,
everyone's like, I'll be this specific superhero.
No, like poor Spider-Man is such a tragic character. He's being chased by cops.
No, you really are the first
Every
person
villain is
ever.
after him. No. Superheroes. I don't know. I don't know. I think characters are particularly in screen because they're so tragic.
Yes.
I'm not interested in being because we are there to watch their downfall or their troubles. No, I don't want to be any character.
You don't want anyone.
No, because I create them. I'm like, no.
I don't want your storyline.
The storyline, I know it's going to be bad and whatever it is.
To be running away from your life.
Exactly.
And what's that one song you would sing if you were to sing karaoke? Your go-to song.
I was thinking about this yesterday. This is my favorite song, and I like singing it. And it's a Stevie Wonder song. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. I like that song.
Oh, okay.
So I like that song. I'd probably, because I'm ambitious and I am deluded, it would probably be in real life, Hero by Mariah Carey.
Can you hold those notes?
No, but delusion will.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
your
no.
world, you're just like, I've got this.
I'm gonna arrive.
Whether
there,
or
and then
not you believe in
my
me.
voice is gonna go. Yeah, no.
I sound like a cat dying.
Really?
People don't believe me.
I'm not a bad singer, but I
Oh,
can't
no,
do
I'm
Mariah
bad.
Carey. Really?
No, I'm not even going to lie to myself.
Oh, at least I
I
can.
just say, you know when people do this with their nails
Oh.
and then a cat dies at the same time?
Maybe you're just too hard on yourself.
No, I'm not. No, there's things in life you need to be
Okay, you need
realistic
to know.
about.
Yeah. So you wouldn't take singing roles, though?
Oh, I would.
There
no,
you go.
Just because I said I can't sing.
Okay, there you go.
It doesn't mean that it
Okay.
hurts my ears.
Okay, I love it.
It doesn't hurt my ears.
Okay, that I love. Okay, I love that.
No, I would. I would
Okay.
take a singing, a dancing. What else is there?
Uh.
Yeah, no, it's acting.
It is
For a
acting. That's what I
reason.
always say. It is acting. Yeah.
I'll work on that voice. And then, what's your superpower, real or imaginary?
I think I have like a little bit of a third eye. Like I have good instinct. Sometimes, yeah, I have good feeling.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
a
of
beautiful
things.
superpower.
So I kind of when I'm stressed, I can't hear it.
Yes.
So I'm always trying to not be stressed so I can hear it. So I lean on it a lot, even in work and in writing. So you kind of are guided by something else, godly, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful superpower to have.
I think so.
A lot of I've realized some people don't have that.
That's very scary. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, it is scary.
Like it's getting.
No, it is a scary thing because it's like, I
That's
call it the
scary.
little voice.
Yeah, that is
You
it.
need
yeah.
to have that little voice that says, "Ungai lapha,"
Yes, that one.
or "Lapha, look out."
Yes.
You need that. Oh,
and
that's
also a good thing, like
beautiful.
this is good or this feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, bon. And then, what's the pettiest reason you would? This is my favorite question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the pettiest reason you wouldn't date someone? Petty. And when you sit by yourself, you're like, but really?
It's a gold tooth.
But that's not petty because
No,
feel
you can't judge it. It's
Because
petty.
I feel you.
No, but it is
Do you
petty.
think it's petty?
So can you imagine this person is everything that you think is
Actually,
great?
it is petty
It's
now.
petty.
that you-
It's just a gold tooth.
It's just a gold tooth,
Yes.
Mos.
So if they tick everybody, they're great, they're smart, but they have a gold. I mean, that's petty as hell.
Okay, no. It's-
Short,
Yeah,
short.
no,
Definitely
I can't judge it.
short. I can't do it.
You say I'm judging you there.
Why? But I'm so
Yeah,
tall.
but the gold tooth I was with you. I'm like, no, that's
No, I can't
definitely
do
petty.
short. Look at me. How is it gonna work?
No, but you bring the height for your kids.
No, but it's not about the kids. What about the men? What about the men?
It's fine. He's your
Better
those
quarter.
snookums.
Better quarter.
Exactly.
Better eighth.
Better quarter.
A better tenth.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Sorry, as a short
Because
person.
with me, you can never be short. If you're shorter than me as a guy,
Okay, that's
we have
pretty
a
short.
serious
But can
issue,
you
so-
imagine me?
For you, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's kind of short, yeah. Not
No,
everybody,
no.
but yeah.
No, but I hear you.
No, but
it
you
must
know-
be difficult for you actually.
So I don't mind short people. It's just that they really mind it. So they don't want you to wear heels.
yeah, I was about to say because now you have to watch out.
Yeah,
what kind of shoes you
no,
wear.
I can't do that, no, guys.
I know.
And now I'm like this in a
you
relationship.
need like a Kevin Hart. Because he looks like he's a confident man.
Yes,
His-
I would
his woman
love
can
that.
Wear
Yeah,
anything.
that I would love. But they
Exactly.
don't come like that. And I know when they see me, they're like, "Oh, wow, you're so cute. Why are you so tall?" I'm
Why
like,
is it's like hi, Mo? Ask God, not
yeah,
me.
yeah, what have I got to do with it? So yeah, I worry more about them. But if he's confident, yeah, sure,
You
I'd love
could.
that,
So I'm
yeah.
guessing, not guessing. So in your take, it's gold tooth and
Yeah, I
the
think
height.
Yeah, I'll do that one. Yeah.
Well, how would you like to be remembered in
Mm,
life?
as a kind person, actually.
Mm.
Nothing else, just kindness. Yeah, kind that I saw people,
Mm-hmm.
and what I was kind. I don't want anything else.
And nothing else.
Nah, no.
And that's a nice way to remember someone. To be remembered as someone who brought kindness
Yeah.
to someone's life, especially in the world we live in. There isn't a
Absolutely.
lot of kindness going
Yeah.
around. That's a beautiful thing to remember. Thank you so much
Thank you for
for
having me.
honoring the invite.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ngiyabonga. And I hope a lot of people at home learned a lot about, especially script writing. I know I kept on going back to the script writing, especially with the script writing, and people can go and also watch your film. Please, South
South.
Africa, please go and
Watch the
and
films.
support. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
through.
much for having me. Thank you so much.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank
Guys,
you.
Thank you for watching Unscripted Moment, for being with us, for supporting us, and for still being here, and for still sharing with your family and friends. Keep on liking, keep on commenting, keep on posting, and keep on inviting more people to come through and be a part of this family. Nginithanda ngothando luka-love. Bye yini. Thank you for staying this long, for liking, subscribing, and sharing with your family and friends. You can follow me on TikTok, which is bukamina_fanele, and also on my Instagram, which is bukamina_fanele. Come back again in my next episode. Nginithanda ngothando luka-love. He has worked on these following shows: Late Night News with Loisa Gola. Gola, is it Gola, right? Loisa Gola. Bantu Hour.